how to, LiDAR and drones. I'm not even kidding. Nobody goes on the site.
There are only issues being voted on.
Right, the minutes and possibly the access road.
And
There's three topics.
Yeah,
Minutes, the Shore Road project,
right,
which is gonna go second now. And the first one's gonna
Yeah,
be St.
but-
Thomas. Okay,
that makes sense.
okay. Okay, you're about ready, Robin? I'm gonna swing my gavel here in a minute, as soon as I get 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Well, welcome. Welcome to, we're gonna open the, call to order the, I'll get it right. We're gonna call to order the September Cornwall and Hudson Planning Meeting, this 16th of September at 7 o'clock. All right. Mr. Michelle and Mr. Chaudhry are not here tonight, but we still have 3 members. That gives us a quorum, so we should be good for any voting requirements. We have 3 topics tonight. The first thing we're going to do is going to change the order a little bit. So the first thing we'll do is look at the minutes from July. We didn't have a session in August, so we're going back to July. July was really all about Storm King School and Dyer Hall, getting conditional approval there. And we'll look at that. Then we're going to change the order. We're going to take St. Thomas pre-application first, because that should be pretty straightforward. They're looking for some feedback on their plans, especially the plans that impact their footprint, which is the entrances to the church itself. And then we'll go to Short Road, and we've got several topics there that we want to cover as we go through it. Anybody have any questions before we move forward? Okay, if not, the board members had a chance to take a look at the minutes for 27 July. It's all about the Storm King School and their request and conditional approval.
Yes.
Yes.
Do I hear a motion
To
to
accept.
approve, to accept? Do I hear a
So
second?
moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Minutes are secured. All right, let's hear from St. Thomas. And who is representing St. Thomas tonight?
Good evening. I'm Michael Molinelli. I'm the architect for St. Thomas.
It's nice to meet you.
Likewise. Thank you for having this pre-hearing. So to keep things simple, we are doing significant renovations on the inside, particularly with regard to restrooms, handicap accessibility, and some other decorative things. Part of what we're doing is expanding the entrances on both sides. So there's an existing hard roof edge on both sides, and there's a circle inscribed in that, which isn't a lot of space. So by expanding closer to the edge of that, we can increase the space and allow people more room when they get in and get out. The only impact that really would affect the board, and that would not require just a building permit, would be we're expanding the canopy on the east side. So currently the building is symmetrical. Once we expand the inside lobby to the edge of the existing roof, there's no place to make a transition inside, outside, weather, umbrellas, snow, or even stand there without being in the sun. So that's the physical change that has us before you. We'd like to point out we're not changing the parking lot. We're not changing the use of the church or increasing its capacity. So nothing else significant has changed. And the canopy itself doesn't come any closer to a setback than any other building that's already on site. I have a couple of illustrations that would show the existing condition and the proposed, which I can physically bring to you if that would help.
Okay, that'd be great.
So existing Google Earth shot, this is where the canopy would be. And from street level, this is the existing facade. And then this would be
The-
the change with the
The
canopy.
proposal.
So the canopy is an open space that is outside of the current footprint. And if you really want to see it, we can just go across the street and look around.
Pre-application?
So you've got glass doors, et cetera?
Correct. So the glass door edges come to where the current edge of the building is. And
Okay.
the canopy extends asymmetrically from the center just to give us a little more room.
So does the building come out to the end of the current canopy?
Well, you can see in
No?
here that the building does not. There's a small round vestibule.
But when you complete it, the building will come to the end of the existing canopy and then there's another canopy?
Correct.
Okay.
So we're increasing the square footage in the inside by a couple hundred feet, doing similar things on both sides, not identical. But this is the side where most people park, so that's where we're putting the canopy.
Okay. Good. Anything else?
No, that's it, unless you have any questions.
Okay.
I can leave this here with you wish. But you also have a set of my plans.
Sure, sure. So what we're looking for is some feedback for us, Mike, as far as when they turn in their final application to the code enforcement officer. So any thoughts, Jason? Any thoughts on this particular, any concerns, any comments?
We weren't provided the material, so I haven't reviewed them, but it doesn't sound like anything significant. As he mentioned, there's not a change in capacity. I think that's, would be one of the main triggers that would be a concern of ours.
Okay,
So there's, again, no impact to the the parking. It seems like a pretty minimal area that's gonna be disturbed. So,
Okay.
I don't foresee any significant issues.
Is it possible to waive the need for an application? Because we have really no impact on the site use?
well, it's a change in the site plan, and we're
Okay.
calling this an amendment to a site plan. So I would offer that we can't waive it,
Okay,
but we need to, I would offer if there are no objections, we need to move it through the process but to check, we need to make sure that you follow the code
sure.
as we go through this. And I do have some questions on
Okay.
some of those. Mr. Carmona, any particular comments you'd like to make before I give it to, turn over the board?
No comment from me. I have
Okay.
reviewed the application and exactly like Jason said, there is no major impact.
Okay.
Concerned about.
Ms. Doyle?
I don't have any questions.
Mr. Lee?
Nor do I.
mean, Mr. Murphy?
Nor do I.
Okay, just a couple of things. And I didn't see it on the design, lighting. Is there going to be additional lighting?
It would be on the design if you can go, there's currently cans underneath the current canopy exterior. There would also be downward lights underneath the new canopy.
So the
Again,
footprint of the lighting would not increase in the
Correct.
church area?
it's all down light right underneath the canopy.
Okay. I noticed that you have pavers and you're extending it out a little bit. Is there any issue with drainage?
Not particularly. We have the option of going with permeable pavers and then
Have
putting
permeable pavers?
and then putting gravel underneath it so that whatever additional net runoff there might be would go completely underneath the new pavers.
Now, I might have missed this on landscape. Any particular landscaping besides the pavers? I kind of saw the canopy and the pavers was the only thing I,
Right, we're not proposing any addition of fences, trees,
or
bushes.
anything
We're not removing anything of significance. It's all fairly low impact.
okay. I would offer that, as you prepare the final and go to Mr. Carmona, the key is the application's pretty straightforward. Make sure you provide that information so when you come back and we could take a quick look at this and then if we're all in compliance, we can move forward.
Sounds
We'll
good.
have to have two things.
Yes.
We'll have to have, and I'm going to ask Mr. McKay this question. Is there a way that they could come in with their final application, and if it's complete, that we could also have a public hearing that day?
Well, that's actually, I'm going through the code right now.
So
the
that we
question,
could kind of combine them and not wait 30 days for a public hearing so somebody could look at this?
I have a question for the
Sure.
code enforcement. So, Manny, you had suggested they come in for a site plan, amended site plan.
Correct.
So there's not one on file though, right?
I did not see one.
Okay. I know you haven't looked at it, assuming that this is not something that we're gonna refer to Jason's office. Do you find the site plan complete for purposes of issuing the permit and for the site plan contents?
Yeah, I'll be comfortable enough to go straight to a public hearing rather than, do another and then another.
Yeah.
In this particular application, because the impact is so minimal on everything that we need to look at. So if you choose to do that, we can set up the application to go straight to a public hearing.
We'd be happy to give whatever you need in order to
Yeah, if you
facilitate
could,
that.
if you could complete that application, Mr. Carmona says yes, we'll have you come in, you brief the public, and then we'll have a vote,
Fantastic.
okay?
Okay.
Is that
Bucket or
okay?
Something, yeah, wait,
Mr. McKay,
just one second.
am I off?
So, other than the renderings and the plan itself, they haven't actually submitted the application, there's no actual I know it's a pre-application. But other than the renderings, is there any application that's already completed?
Is this the way I set it up? I use the same application, so they're gonna continue with this pre-application. There is two boxes. One box says pre-application, the other box says formal application. So if we have continuation, they'll just go to the
an
next step,
application?
which is the site plan review.
Yes, they have.
So the application we filled out was the same full application, whether or not it was a pre-application or an application.
Right.
Oh,
There's two conceptions, so that I put it all.
all right, well, I think what the board can do is, since they have actually completed, I know this is called a pre-application meeting,
Right.
but since they have completed an application, and since the code enforcement officer believes the application, for his purposes, is complete, if we wanted to, then to essentially try to schedule this for a public hearing for the October meeting, the board could make a motion. There wouldn't be any way to
Schedule a public hearing?
circulate. Yeah, I don't see any other agency that could possibly be a lead agency here. So the board could essentially designate itself as lead agency, preliminarily classify it as unlisted. It may actually be a type 2, but it's commercial, so I'll check that. Deem the application complete for purposes of the public hearing and schedule a public hearing for the October meeting. The board can also direct the clerk to send any required referrals. It's along Hudson Street, so it may need a 239M referral. So I would say designate the board as lead agency, preliminarily classify it as unlisted, authorize the clerk to make any referrals that might be required, and schedule a public hearing for the October meeting.
It's under 4,000 square feet. I'm assuming it's under 4,000 square
The
feet.
change to the exterior, yes, much under.
It's probably type 2.
Yeah, so it's a type 2 action.
Yeah.
Could be
And
a type
we're in a central business district, so the CBS zone.
Right. It's probably type 2. I mean, it's okay to just preliminarily classify it as unlisted. We'll verify it and schedule the public hearing for October.
Okay. Members, any comment, any concern?
Sounds good to me.
No, I noticed that in the application that you sent, there was a point marked in that which made this a pre-application. But there was one just underneath it, as it was described here, was a full application. Is there any reason or any benefit to checking both of those off? That this is both a pre and a full?
Well, right now, it's a pre-application meeting, but I think we've kind of, jumped over that issue, and we're going to go procedurally right ahead and schedule the public hearing for them. Because they're essentially the same. That's-
They're essentially the same, and we don't need to be bureaucratic on this. I think we need to move forward, yeah.
But I recommend if you wish to do that, go over on the application, page 3, 4, and 5, for the accounting and preparation of a site plan. there are several items there, I believe there are 14 items. You as the board have the authority to waive some of those. And being that this is a simple, for lack of a better term, application, some of those items could be waived. They probably not required, so if you can just go to each one of them and indicate which one you waive. The applicant doesn't have to do a full site plan.
Thank you.
Okay, so contents and preparation of plan. We're looking at, a detailed development plan showing the applicant's entire property and adjacent properties and streets at a convenient scale. Given the
Has
fact
been provided.
that's been provided, so, but we don't have a actual site plan from the past, correct?
Yeah, but
But they give us a site. So I'm okay with waivering that. Anybody, we're okay with that one? We don't need to take a vote on each one, do we, Joe?
No, just note it for the
Proposed
record.
location, use, and exterior design of all buildings and structure. It's okay. Any proposed division of buildings or structures into units of separate occupancy,
Not applicable.
not a NA. Existing topography and proposed grade elevations, watercourses, marshes, I don't think we got a marsh over there.
No.
Areas subject to flooding, wooded areas, rock outcroppings, and other existing structures, not applicable. Location of all parking and truck loading areas with access and egress drives thereto, yes. Location of outdoor storage areas, if any. I don't think you have storage areas, but you have parking lot, and seems okay to me. Anybody disagree? Okay, yes. Location of all existing and proposed site improvements, including drains, culverts, retaining walls, fences, and sidewalks. I guess I'd be most curious on drains. I didn't
We can,
look at the
we've
drains.
provided that, we can make sure that's
Can
part
you
of the
make sure
application.
that, okay. Description of method of sewage disposal, that won't change any of the water
change.
suppliers. Okay, not applicable. Location and size of all signs, not applicable. Location and proposed development of landscaping, you're not doing that.
Right.
Location and design of lighting facilities, it's okay. They're all down, correct? If the site plan only indicates a first stage, a supplementary plan shall indicate ultimate development plan. That's not applicable.
Not applicable.
Any other pertinent information as may be determined conformity of the site plan with intent and regulations of this chapter. See attached.
Yeah,
Or
that's not to be waived.
Any other permanent information may be necessary to. Do we have anything else that we,
that is everything that you just covered. If you think there's anything else that you wish.
yeah, I don't see any. Okay, none. Is that the only ones we need to go over, Manny?
Those are the only ones. You do have to waive a resolution. So you got, if you see B, say you have to waive a resolution in the waiving requirements. And the board shall set forth the reason for the waiver.
The proposed canopy does not require any zoning variances, but as an exterior change to the site plan is subject to the site plan review by the planning board. I concur with your statement that you have after the waiver.
Okay.
Do you concur, Ms. Dorn?
I'm sorry,
On the waiver, and they want a reason why we would do a waiver, and it says the proposed canopy does not require any zoning variance. by an exterior change to the site plan if subject to site plan review by the planning board.
I'm not opposed to that. I'm curious, however, don't we have isn't there a minimum time required between the announcement of a public hearing and the public hearing itself?
Yeah, well,
We've
what we're
got-
going to do is schedule it for the October meeting.
Announce it in September. The end of September here.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be sufficient time to get a,
Not tonight, then.
it'll be sufficient time to get a notice in the paper and to do any required notifications.
Well, I think that
We need to send out a mailer to all adjacent properties.
Correct.
I think that what Mr. McKay mentioned to us is that we need to state that we believe we're the lead agency, it's an unlisted secret issue. and
Preliminarily.
we propose a public hearing, so we would take care of that tonight by
Right.
that statement.
Right.
Is that,
That's
Correct.
true. And I think what Manny's saying about the waivers, the code does say you need to have a resolution. I think you just essentially you gave your reasons for each one of the items as maybe they weren't applicable, maybe they were already included. So you kind of did that. So if you just want to make a motion to kind of everybody agrees that what you just advised the applicant would be waived, is waived because it wasn't applicable or unnecessary for this application.
okay, so what I'm hearing is I should make a motion to address the questions we just went through.
Correct.
And then make a motion on what I just mentioned to you about a public hearing and lead agency.
Yeah, let's take care of the waivers first. We'll just do the waivers.
All right, then you'll tell me how I do the other one.
Bill, there were some you said yes to, so those you're not waiving, correct? You're not waiving?
Correct.
Okay.
I guess, how do I say that then?
Well, I don't want to get caught up really in form over substance. You know, if we had discussed this before, we could have come in with a written resolution and you
Right.
could have kind of ticked it off. So, but I guess all I'm trying to say is if you make a motion for a resolution, it's the same thing. Make a motion to have the applicant be exempt from providing the certain items you
Certain items we
were
said not required.
unnecessary or not required because they're just simply not necessary for the review of this application.
Okay.
That's really all you're doing.
Okay.
So if you want to put that in the form of a motion,
I'd like to, I'll try. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to waiver the items we went over that were not applicable or we said no to. And obviously, the ones that we agreed to would stay. To take care of the resolution.
it's fine.
And that wasn't well, that wasn't
That's
very
fine. It's fine. We all know what we're doing.
Do I
It's
hear a
fine.
motion?
It's fine.
I make the motion.
A second.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Address
So the question
waiver.
is, the question I have is the applicant clear on
You
what
clear?
they
Did you
need to
catch-
provide and
Did you
not?
catch
O-
those?
Okay.
And I'll review it with Manny, and I appreciate that, but our application probably would say not applicable in a lot of them anyway, so.
Correct. Understood.
We're all working towards the same end, and I appreciate
Exactly.
your assistance.
We're trying to move this along a little faster, go around the 60 more days.
Are you sure you don't want to sit at the desk?
Okay. The last motion I'd like to make is that we declare ourselves as lead agency. Can you do it? And I'll take a motion on it. That'd be great.
Sure.
I love
So-
when the attorney takes it.
So someone's going to make the following motion. One, to declare the planning board as lead agency with respect to the application. Two, preliminarily classify it as unlisted, and I'll check and see if it's exempt. Three, schedule a public hearing for the October blank date meeting at 7 p.m. and authorize the clerk and council to make whatever required referrals may be necessary prior to the public hearing.
Fine.
I make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You get that, Robin?
Yep.
Good to go. Very well done, Joe.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you
Any
very
other
much.
questions?
No, I'll see you next
Trying
month.
to help you accelerate this.
I appreciate that, and I understand completely, again.
All right, thank you
See you
very
next
much.
month.
Have a good day. Thanks. Okay. All right. David, you want to give us an update? I'd like to get an update, and I know you're going to also talk about your request for initial access road. Yeah, you have a copy right there.
Yeah.
So, hello, everyone.
Hi.
We're back to further the project along. And as, let me just tilt this. So as William had mentioned, we are here to request permission to clear and perform minor grading work along the cul-de-sac area that's highlighted here. So Manny, the building inspector, asked that we get planning board permission to be issued a grading and a grading permit to clear that area. Why do we need to clear this area? Well, up to this point here, the arborist and the survey were able to get to this point, but from about this point to the end of the cul-de-sac, it's very dense. And so the surveyor had asked that we get that cleared, and the arborist also, agreed to get back there. So it would be necessary to continue with the design of the project. In addition to that, we're proposing a retention pond here and over here. And the design of the retention pond or bioretention area is based on percolation rates. So we need to get a machine in there so that we can excavate and test the area to make sure that our design for stormwater will be suffice and be adequate for the site. That's basically it. We're proposing to enter the site at the designed entrance, which is right here. We did encounter a concern that we'll overcome. The existing sewer pipe that goes along Shore Road is elevated about 2.5 inches above the entrance area right here. So we have to propose temporary measures to protect that sewer line so that nothing would happen during this first phase of construction. Now, we're not asking to grade and clear the whole site. We're only asking to grade and clear this cul-de-sac area for the purpose of design. So we had a meeting yesterday, actually, with the DPW super, building department, the owner, and came to a general consensus that it would be agreeable with the DPW to allow us to get this permit so that we could access the site and clear and grade along there. However, prior to our doing so, we would need approval on the temporary measures that would be taken to protect the sewer line. So we're working along with the site contractor on what temporary measure would suffice to protect that sewer line. We would submit that to the DPW and to the municipal engineer and to the building department for approval prior to mobilizing or accessing the site to provide the grubbing. No. Joe?
I have a question. Was the town sewer superintendent involved at all? I understand you met with Dave Halverson. It's just because it's the town's pipe, that's all. Just curious.
I thought he had jurisdiction. So to answer your question directly, no. It was, we were led to believe from the conversations that he had jurisdiction, so there would be no need to get approval from them.
It wasn't necessarily saying approval, just so they're aware of.
We can make them aware, sure. Obviously, we're going to have to provide a design for permanent solution of that sewer pipe, but that will take time, obviously. So we really don't want to hold up the process of accessing the site and clearing and grubbing the area. So we feel it's a reasonable request. At this time, I believe everybody's on board with it and understands the process. And so we would ask for your approval so that the building department can issue a permit, again, based on a caveat that we would offer the temporary measures for the approval of everyone that has jurisdiction over that pipe.
Sure. And I think that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jason and Manny, I think the village probably owns that pipe, but the amount service increase to the town is where will serve this community is required. So that goes to a town. We have to make sure they're willing to accept that increased capacity of sewage
Sure.
to the town, because it goes to the town eventually. And that's really the coordination piece, I believe.
Yeah, so we, at one of the prior meetings, we had discussed, what authorization, you asked me what authorization you would need. I reached out to the town attorney, and I spoke with Dave Halverson, and essentially, the consensus is, it's within the sewer district, just, write to the town, get them to give you the will serve letter, only because we're being cautious because it is the 17 lots, so, if you get the will serve letter from them,
Yeah,
you're good to go.
thank you. Okay. Jason, would you like to comment on the access road?
So what is the total, I think we should put some bounds on what's gonna be disturbed. What's the total acreage of, or square footage of the disturbance?
I don't know. The road is 1,200 feet long times 12, 24,000 square feet. You have to add to both sides of it. I mean, if I had to guess at this moment, 30,000 square feet.
But is it necessary to clear the whole width of the road just to get in and out of there? Or can we just-
25 feet? I mean, I think that's a reasonable request, I mean, to get machinery up and down. I mean, to clear 12 feet of road versus 24 feet, I really don't think is an excessive request.
Okay. Is there disturbance of the class 3 slopes that is gonna?
No.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that the need for that wide of a swath of land to get in there just to do some reconnaissance work. It's necessary. The board is okay with it. I don't personally have an objection to it. I don't know. It seems like a lot of clearing for just ingress into the site. I mean, 25 foot is wider than most of the village streets are at this point.
Well, we're asking from that door to that pilaster right there, that width, to go all the way across the site. So, I mean, in fact, part of it may even be cleared. It depends on the amount of trees that are in the area. And then there's a cost factor. I mean, we're mobilizing a machine and probably 2 machines and a grubbing equipment to access and clear that road. I just don't think it's a excessive request.
The purpose of the road is for you to get back to this area that the arborist and wasn't able to get to?
Surveyor.
Surveyor?
To this area right here. From here to here.
And you need to get back there with heavy machinery?
It's not heavy. I mean, medium-sized excavator and a small dozer. Yes.
That, when I look at the design, you have the two areas where you're gonna put, basins. You
Correct.
have that area all cleared also. Is
Yes.
that-
Over here and over
up
here.
near the Cul-de-sac. Can you talk about that a little bit? Why do you need that whole area?
Oh, so we have to do soil testing of the site. So you base the design of the retention area on the amount of water that'll be directed to that area, and can the earth handle it at that point? So the only way to determine that is to test the soil conditions and see their perk rates and things of that nature.
So these ponds that you're building, are these going to be permanent?
Yeah, well, they're not, yes, they are. They'll be for the entire site. We're not building it right now. We're just accessing it so that we can excavate and
You're
test it.
creating ponds, correct?
No.
No, they're clearing
Well-
where the ponds are gonna
You're
be.
clearing,
Yeah.
okay.
So they want a soil test, do a core sample. Lee, any questions? Anything else? I'm sorry, Ms. Dole.
I'm just having a hard time understanding this.
Okay.
apologize.
Is there any plan or thought given to ease transport of people from either the area above the site or people at that time? Where are they going to have to walk that long that from the circle all the way down to the street? Are they going to, will there be any other means of human communication between?
During this first phase of just clearing the road? Or you mean at the end?
Planning now, because you're going in to do some cleanup work on that area of the project.
Are you referring to, just for clarification, Lee, are you referring to a possible pedestrian easements with the other
You know,
communities?
That is one way to
Is that
do
what,
it,
is
yes.
that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
That is a future, I mean, that's something we could look at, because of the length of that road, there is some requirements to have pedestrian easements.
Yeah.
Right now, what we're focused on is, how do we want to address their initial temporary road just to get in and do their investigation? But those question you're asking is a good question in the future when we talk about the rest of the project as they look at it. That connection between communities. And that's something I'd like to get feedback from the public eventually. you know,
Well, there
where
may
they want.
not be immediate involvement in the subsequent or final need for desirable sorts of communication.
Yeah, I think you're raising a great point. I think that's something that as they move on in their design, we're gonna ask them to look at some options.
And they're going to
Connect.
have to have looked at it while
While they're-
setting, while
While they're doing
setting
their
this up.
recon.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
so that's a good point. Yes, Jim.
I assume we're talking about the neighborhood on. at the
Yeah,
top.
Andrews Avenue,
Yeah.
West Avenue, do you wanna
Is that
have some
something that They're
connection?
gonna want, that the neighbors are gonna want?
Well, that's part of a public hearing.
Okay.
You know, it's something that the village can require, but we're obviously gonna take all the input before we do it. But I understand your point better now, that as you look at the terrain, there's some areas I don't know if I'd wanna have a connection. There's other areas that might be easy to connect because of the slopes.
If I had a guess, I would say that Andrews would not want to have a connection to this road, but hey, if that's the consensus, we'll
That's
design something.
not gonna say anything's negative until I hear from the public. But I understand your point.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to get some other thoughts, David. Mr. Kimona, do you have any particular thoughts on this particular plan?
Just to make sure that you're gonna be clearing to get all the way to the top there, but just to make sure that that access road will not be regraded to the point of being level.
I agree.
Because you do have machinery, so you'll be able to get in through the existing contour as much as possible without leveling any area to make the road,
We agree. We agree. You know, we can meet that condition.
Okay? Mr. McKay?
I don't have any legal objection to this. Maybe I just share the same general question, which is, at least to me, I thought the purpose of this was to do, surveying work, tree inventory, and it just seems to me that due to the width of the road and the amount of material that might be removed, it's almost like a pre-clearing for the road. But it's just a question. I don't have any legal concerns, and I would just defer to our engineering consultants.
Any additional comments, Jason? Reference this before where the board talks about this a little bit.
Just that if the board is to authorize this, I think as long as the applicant is able to meet the conditions of the general conditions that are required as part of the project, that should be demonstrated on this before they go ahead and
Sure.
clear that. And those are like the conditions that are relevant to the steep slopes. David said there aren't gonna be any disturbance of the class 3 slopes. There's other conditions of 172-12-1. So if it meets those conditions and the board is okay with the amount of disturbance and the protective measures that he's indicated for the sewer are put forth, obviously, there's gonna have to be protective measures put forth for erosion control.
Mhm.
I'm sure that's understood. And as Manny said, the grading should really be limited. It's not, the intention is not to create the road right now, it's just to gain access, so.
And we agree.
Okay.
We agree. We're not asking to excavate or grade even a rough grade of the road. We're just asking to allow us to gain access to a property he owns and clear so we can investigate, yeah.
I think the word grading got into your comment about it. You may not have meant any completion of the road or
No,
near
no completion.
completion of the road. But it got us thinking. that
Sure.
We should get that clear before we start to work on it.
Makes sense.
And just to assure the board, I mean, so I walked the property, I tried to follow the surveyor as he was going up, I didn't really make it all the way, but most of what's coming out is like very thick underbrush. It's not a lot of trees, I mean, it's fallen trees and underbrush where you can't really walk. So that's really all that's coming out.
I'm having a hard time understanding why you need such a wide amount then for the purposes of what you're telling us.
Regulation, they're not allowed to cut any trees over 8 inches.
So would we, what I'm hearing from the board and some of our consultants is the magnitude of the clearing. And so I would ask for their opinion on when they do their final review, because I believe, and I feel comfortable with, you need to get in there. My thought, that you need to get in there. The scope of and the magnitude of the clearing is a little bit in question. If we if we approve this today, I would have a conditional approving pending the approval by the village engineer and the code enforcement officer of the final design. So before you get a permit, they would both have to agree on the scope of the actual clearance. Not the board today. We're gonna rely on the professionals to say, make it a little narrower, and we may not wanna let you in maybe half of the area where the basins might go, whatever they think is about right. But the requirement is there as far as getting in, just to be able to be smart. You know, we want a good design, and I understand that's what you want to do. How much clearance is I think is in question. So I think, and I'm looking at legal, I think the board needs to think about a motion or not on a conditional approval pending a review by the village engineer and the code enforcement officer before a permit is in. Is that a good motion?
Yeah, I think because of course, what they're really asking you is for the authorization for the clearing. But even with that authorization, they need to comply with all of the regulations within the code. Whether old growth trees or trees of a certain diameter, they may not be able to remove those. So yeah, so essentially what you're doing, if the board wants to authorize, we'll call it a permit for, or authorize them to seek the permit, approve, get the permit from the code enforcement officer. So you're essentially, authorizing it subject to the applicant meeting all the criteria within
From our two experts.
the code criteria and complying with the recommendations of the code enforcement officer and the village engineer.
Manny, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I agree with that. One condition, possibly add that make me feel comfortable anyways, is that if, I don't see this approval being excessive because this is gonna be required regardless if this project gets approved.
Right,
moving
the
forward.
requirement's there.
Right, they're gonna have to do this anyway. However, if for whatever reason this project doesn't move forward, the applicant decide not to build or whatever, after this is done,
Big
I
scar.
would like a condition that the applicant is to restore to as much as possible the area by planting trees, adding field if need be, securing the area, whatever needs to be done to make it as pre-construction as possible.
Can that be put in the permit? Legally? I mean, can we make that part of the,
They're mandated to restore the slopes. I don't know if it's, I don't think it's restricted to only class 3. I think it's 1 and 2 within 2 days. So those areas need to be stabilized within 2 days.
but the question, just go back to, if, for some reason it doesn't come about and the developer says, I don't want to do this, and therefore you have a road, what's their requirement on correcting the road or reforesting the road or, putting it back the best they can to the natural state? Is there a code on that, Manny?
I don't think there is a code, but I think it's something that we should look at. I mean, looking at the history of this project, it was approved back in 80s, 90s, I believe it was, and nothing happened
Yeah.
after it was approved. I don't think that's gonna be the case now, but I think we
Yeah,
should
I
throw
think-
something in there to protect the village in case
Sure,
history repeats itself.
sure.
I mean, you're offering an approval, so you can condition that approval with whatever.
With
conditions
the
you-
restoration, yeah, okay. And that's what I was gonna ask yourself, Jason. Do you have any issue with the conditions that we've talked about as far as conditional approval pending the review by both of you? Which I would hope that you would put something in there in the permit about restoration if necessary.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. How does the board feel about that?
I feel much more comfortable with that than before this discussion began.
Okay.
I support that.
You support that? Okay.
Chairman, so I hear the concern of the board. So let's assure you that when David is discussing the limits of the clearing with the village engineer and Manning, we'll limit as much as we can just to accomplish what we have to accomplish.
Sure.
On the site now, but not a bad thing to get all that underbrush out of there anyway, but it really serves no purpose, and it's an invasive species. So, you know, according to our arborist, there's not a lot of trees on that property that are gonna have to be replaced if removed, because they're really invasive.
Sure.
So, but we'll limit it to the greatest extent possible to accomplish what we need to accomplish on the site now.
Sure. I believe the board sees the need, your requirement to get in there. I mean, that's the requirement. What I want to make sure is I've heard from our experts and from some of the board members that they want that reviewed, as James just mentioned. Does it have to be that much clearance or not? And I think the smart folks need to sit down and come up with a compromise on what's about right, in my opinion. I don't know if it's the board's opinion, but it's my opinion. That we need to make sure we do that, just like you mentioned, James, okay? Do I hear a motion to conditionally approve the request for an access road pending the approval by the village engineer and the code enforcement officer?
And also conditioned on.
And conditioned on correcting anything if the project does not move forward. Restoring if the project does not move forward. Is that, do I hear a motion?
I make the motion.
You make the motion?
I'll second.
The second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay. What else?
Well, there's one more, well, before we go on. It's typical in the industry to receive a comment letter, review of the plans. When can we expect that?
Comment letter and
Yeah,
review.
so we just, we made a submission, we would like a review of it so we can respond to it.
Review of this particular.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
Of which submission?
of the grading and
The
permit.
grading, okay.
We have not received it yet, so as soon as we receive it, we will.
I'll send it forward. It wasn't sent forward because we had discussed that you were probably gonna change the layout of the lot. And that was probably gonna change everything else, so I didn't wanna send this and then send something else later.
Okay,
Alright?
Okay.
I was expecting, I don't know if you have a presentation for another proposal tonight or.
we do. I'm hesitant to even bring it up. I'd rather just get this approved and move on. I'm not sure, of how to proceed. So we have an alternate sketch design of the site. I would ask that you view it as a preliminary design. It has no impact on the approval that you just gave for grubbing the new
Road
road.
doesn't change.
Correct. So given that caveat, if we'll continue, I can show you that design.
Lee? I'm good.
Yeah, I think.
I'd like to see it. I think the more informed we are on it, the better. And I think I understand why you're gonna provide some options. I'd like you to talk to the board a little bit of why you wanna do some of these things, possibly in the future. And then we'll talk about some of the options.
So the design that you see here in front of you removes the two houses from below this area.
David, if I move it here so everybody can see it here.
Sure, if you wanna come on up.
Should I do that? All the board members will be able to see it then, and everybody else. Ooh, these are tricky. Okay.
In the current design, we have two houses in this lower area, right here. To locate the houses in this lower area would involve a lot of earthwork. It would involve a retaining wall. It would involve a shared driveway leading from this road all the way down to where the two houses would be. In addition to that, we have not received New York State DEC determination on the wetlands. So that can go either way. It can be favorable, which means the design would remain as presented to you, or they could take jurisdiction and restrict our being able to, or they're enforcing a 100-foot buffer from the wetlands going out. If that were the case, we would like to relocate these two homes up here, right along this area here. So the zoning board has already granted us well, let me back up. In so doing, we would be able to make the lot area requirements as set forth in the zoning code by allowing these lots to continue across on the other side of the roadway. They would, I don't want to create a road easement, but the lot area would not only be for this lot here, but also continue down this way. And the same for this, and this one over here. That would allow us to satisfy the zoning requirement for lot area. However, it would not satisfy the zoning requirement for lot width. Your zoning requirement is 150 feet. These lots 6 through 10, 4 lots would be impacted, would have a lot width of an average between 103 feet to 120 feet. So we would have to request a variance to allow those lots. Now, the zoning board has, I can't say approved because they haven't acted, because they're waiting for the planning board to act, but they seem favorable to having granted us that same variance for 4 lots here. This one, this one, this one, and this one. So we have a preliminary approval, for lack of a better way of expressing it, from the zoning board to allow those 4 lots, that would be lots 10, 14, 15, and 17, to have a lesser width than the required zoning code requirement of 150. We would be asking the same for lots 6, 7, 8, and 9, again, the ones up here. In some respects, this design has a lot of benefits to it. It doesn't impact this area here. It's very sensitive to the environmental area of this site. Also, it provides, well, either design would provide a maintenance agreement, because someone's going to have to take care of the wetlands area, or because we understand the village doesn't want to do so. So, you know, the property owners are going to have to do so. But this makes it just a little bit more cleaner, and less impact on the site. So that's something that had come up from our conference meeting a couple of weeks ago. We have not received a DEC determination yet. Did have a meeting with them last week on another project, so I know that this is coming up shortly. And we can either be proactive right now and proceed with this design, which would not impact any DEC requirements and would be a lot more sensitive to the site, or wait until their determination comes into effect.
Okay. Questions? Any clarification requirement? Lee, quite clear.
No.
What I'd like to have is, oh, there you go. Manny, as far as code, cross road, and that would be made by the planning board, and the area the lot width would be made by the ZBA?
It's a possibility. I'm not sure on the crossroad. I haven't had a situation like that. I spoke to the applicant about. This is entirely new to me, so I have to
Okay.
do some research on that
Okay,
and see how we can get that approved if we can.
if we can.
So that's something that needs to be
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I have a
Ms. Lawrence.
question. So is this going to be a village road or a private road?
Village Road. In both designs, they plan on dedicating the road to the village.
Okay. I know of a neighborhood where there's private road and the lot is split by the private road. so-
We,
Yeah.
I mean, locally, there's an example along Lakes Road in Monroe. We deal with that on 2 or 3 applications recently where you have access to the lake, but you have to cross Lakes Road to get access to the lake. So the property on the one side of Lake Road continues onto the other side between Lakes Road and the lake. The meets and bounds are written that way, and actually, they've been in effect for quite a while. So we're kind of familiar with that type of arrangement. I mean, it's similar in concept, and there's no lake here to access for boats and things like that, but it is similar in concept.
I look at yourself, Jason, if I may, David, look at yourself, Jason, as far as an engineer and looking at that there, for the location, is that a better location to go, I guess, west of the road than down east of the road when near the water? I know there might be some regulations in there, but just as a location, is it a better location? What do you think? What are your thoughts on it, pros and cons?
The relocation of those
The
dwellings.
relocation, the proposal versus keeping them down on the east side.
Yeah, I mean, I think, as David kind of alluded to, it was discussed during the prior meeting that maybe that was preferable. I think we suggested moving them up to that side.
It's just a matter of now you've got variances and, you know, the discussion I just had with Mr. Kimona. Okay? When would you recommend you pull the trigger on this? When you get a decision from DEC in New York City, New York DEC, or, I mean, how?
Yeah, it's
Because
not-
you're kind of in a little bit of limbo with what's your layout, what's your site lots.
This was actually our original layout.
Was it?
Yeah. We just couldn't meet the zoning requirements at that time. And so, you know, it's not preferable to go for variances. It's a 50-50,
Sure.
you know, option. But
I guess I'm curious to know what version the board likes better. We'd like to have some.
Do you have any feedback?
Yeah, I don't know what the interplay is between, us and the zoning board of appeals. We can't grant the variances, so yeah, you almost need, you need the two committees to act together.
Can you speak a little louder?
I was just commenting on, I don't know the interplay between the planning board and the ZBA at this particular moment. It's, you kind of need them to know,
Well, that
yeah,
aside,
yeah.
you have a decision between the two versions of the layout. I happen to like this layout.
I think it's probably a good thing not to be near the wetland and maybe for not to have to disturb. But I'd want to know for sure that the lot size met the requirements. That you can meet the lot requirements by being on both sides of the road. I think we need to know that.
sure.
Lee?
You know, that's fairly common in the Hamptons.
Were there any drawings made up of this original plan as, you know, as poked by your little light? But is there some way we could see something that you have in existence that is this this new layout, new to us?
This is basically it. We had just have it in site plan. We don't have anything else, that would describe it. Really, it doesn't change it doesn't change aesthetically anything else that we presented to you with the current design. I mean, the road, the rendering of the road, the rendering of the houses all remain. The cross sections through the site that we showed you for the visual impact, and proving that there would be no impeding of line of sight for the river. So it would change, just change a lot of the engineering aspects of it. So
That's, Now you're getting to a little bit of the point I was gonna make. It's visually, when you look at it, I would be open to thinking about moving them up there, but, you got the ZBA. They've gotta agree in code-wise, because that's not a good area down there
no.
by the wetlands. And I wouldn't wanna own a house below a wetlands that's gonna fill up and probably spill over on my home. So I understand why you would want to move them up there. I just don't know of all the other impacts. When you move something like that, there are slope impacts, where are the houses, what's the engineering, what's the change of the site plan. So myself, I'm only speaking for myself, visually it looks like, we're getting rid of one problem. I don't know what the new problems are, I guess is my point. I just don't know, because I'm only looking at homes on the side of along a road. So I would want to know a little bit better about it if this is a direction you want to go after you hear from the DEC. But it just seems like we're trying to be proactive on some of a problem we do see, which is south of or east of the marsh.
The lower portion,
Yeah.
yeah.
It doesn't look like a very livable area.
We have it up there.
But that's just my initial opinion by looking at the site. That make sense?
Sure.
Yes, it makes sense.
It'll
I
impact
just don't
less.
know where it leaves us.
Well, we can't make a decision on it. All they're asking for is, are we totally against it or for it? And I'm open, I guess is my point with it. I'm not against it. But we have to go through the process of understanding the impacts of the change. That's fair.
Right, yeah, are there any impacts for drainage or, yeah?
I mean, and I know you haven't done the engineering on that.
Well, I'll
so-
tell you right now, I can see Jason looking at, we impact the class 3 slopes.
We impact class 3 there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So
that's
we
what I
have to
mean,
get a variance.
there's some things we don't know yet, or I didn't know if it impacts class 3 or not, I don't know. We have to look at that. Anybody else?
I have a question.
Joe?
David, is there a natural pond there at the bottom?
A what?
Is it a natural pond, existing pond? Where the detention? There were 2 detention ponds you mentioned, right?
We have to create those, correct.
Right. Where do you know where they're
Oh, yeah,
likely to?
they're going to be right here and over there.
Okay, I guess what I'm saying is in an earlier depiction, there's an area here. Is that a naturally occurring pond or is that?
Is that the
This is
wetland
one of the-
area?
How, that looks like the wetland.
Where are you talking, Joe?
This was kind of the sketch,
Yeah.
and I'm just curious whether this is a naturally occurring pond or is.
Yeah, so the wetlands actually, I mean, the retention pond that we're talking about would be here and up here, in addition to that.
That's,
So the question would be, who's gonna be, are there gonna be 2 or 3 lot owners that are responsible for the maintenance of the detention pond? Because it's gonna accept.
Water.
From all of the lots presumably, or is it gonna be declaration, some kind of easements, how?
Well, that applies, but Joe, that applies to both designs. You know, right now, I think, I mean, I don't have the answer to that. I mean, I'm sure we'll have to work out some kind of covenant or agreement, you know, for the maintenance. Yeah, but that applies to both designs. I guess right now, we're just focusing, like, you know, is this,
Know how we feel. And I guess,
the owner like to, yes.
That's an interesting question. So what would you propose?
Well, as, for tonight, I don't have a proposal. As David said, if it's going to apply to either design,
Yeah.
it may be, you know, beyond what we're talking about tonight. But I would be curious as to, regardless of what design it is, we're going to have an understanding of how the obligations for maintenance are distributed among the lot owners.
We'll come up with a solution to that, and we'll submit it to you for your approval. We'll come up with a plan on that.
any other comments reference this possible option? Any comments from?
Gee, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? If we had another group of variances required, actions taken.
Well, they'd have to go back and to the
Yes,
ZBA on this
Way
and,
back, yes.
and get their feel for it.
When you got the preliminary approval from the ZBA, was it for this second rendering?
No.
Well, there's no,
That was the initial.
there's no approval. It's really just a,
No, he said,
yeah, it's just whether they would be willing to, because this board's the secret lead agency. The ZBA can't act until this board makes the determination, a secret determination. So it's really it's an informal process, you know, whether the ZBA thinks they would
Okay.
agree to those variances.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm hearing is, David and James, is that the board's not against it, but it has to go through the process, and we have to flesh it out, and we have to understand what the design does and what it changes. And we know we'll have to go to the ZBA, and we know we need to have a call as far as allowing to go across the street, which I'm not against either if we got to just figure that out. Going across the street in our village counts, you know, as far as lot area. And those are the things we need to start thinking about, et cetera. So I hope that helps, you know, as far as the thought process. I know you're going to.
Or we could waive the requirement and just approve it.
Oh, yeah. Well, we can't do that. So, but does that help?
I mean,
don't
I
know what else to
understand,
say.
I
We can't
understand
say
completely,
yes,
you know,
and
so.
It's approved. I mean, all we could say is we don't have an objection to it. We have to understand it. It's not been fleshed out. So, okay. Other things you want to raise tonight?
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Not enough.
But no, the
No, I
board's been
appreciate
very
you coming here
agreeable,
and
appreciate it, you
Laying
know,
both
so.
of those out. I understand the first request you had is a requirement you have to do, and we want to have you work with our consultant and the code enforcement officer.
Yeah.
And let's flesh that out. So you can
Absolutely.
get in there and figure out what you got.
Please, you know, board members, please know, we will respond and work along with the consultants without question, of course.
And
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Question I have is, and I thought it was very useful, a work session. Do we need another work session prior to October or not? And if we do, then you need to get with the code enforcement officer and let's schedule something. In a work session, we started these with this particular project, like the town and other municipalities that have larger projects, a lot of them, what they do is the consultants, the code enforcement officer, and I'm invited, and one other member is allowed to come from the board. We can't have the board there. Can sit down with the applicant and discuss their plans. And I think it was very fruitful to have that at the end of September. And if we need another one, I think we should schedule and continue to work to understand better what direction we're heading. But it's up to yourselves if you want that, and I would like to, doesn't have to decide tonight, but, you know, if you could work with Manny, if you want.
I think that would be really helpful, David. I think it would be very helpful.
It's, okay. And the only thing on that is that when we do that, it's only helpful if the village gets the plans about 5 days before the work session, so the village can look at it and then sit down with you in a work session, and we understand it, you got it, and we could make some, have good discussion on it. Okay, so that would be part of the
Reasonable.
requirement. Let's see. Those are the only next steps. I mean, I really look at, if you want that, I think it'd be helpful. And then that would help you shape what you want to bring into in October. And what sort of update we'll have as a continuation. Anything else that we can do for you?
No, I thank the board for considering our mobilizing on site for this preliminary work. Hate to go through the design process without having some definite investigation done. So I think that's pertinent. And then whatever owner decides, you know, we can get together for a conference before the next meeting, or 5 days, you know, before. So,
Right, great. Okay, thank you very much, David. I
Okay,
appreciate it.
thank you.
Appreciate your time tonight. James, thank you very much. Okay, any closing comments by anyone here? Manny, do you have a comment?
Yeah, just, I mean, I just had a
Question?
general question. I wasn't really sure actually that this was the place for the question and the answer, but I did notice that the proposed lots are for sale on Zillow. And I was just wondering how the lots are able to be put up for listing if they haven't been approved yet. I just wasn't
Okay.
sure.
I did see that too, and I had that same question and
I had
forgot
that
about it.
question.
Yeah.
Joe, I
Sure.
asked that question.
You want me to give legal advice to the public? Is that, well, they can't actually sell the lots until they know the configuration of the lot. You know, so it's kind of a pre-sale, you know, builder's price kind of thing. They generate interest, but they can only sell the lot once it's actually approved by the board, subdivided, and someone knows what they're selling and the other person knows what they're buying. But it's to generate interest and, you know, let people know that there's future homes being built, that kind of thing.
Are they allowed to accept any money, though, if it's for sale?
I don't have the, I defer, yeah.
I mean, to me, you're putting it out there, I guess, to generate people to come and show interest in buying these, so they would line up to buy them. Are you we putting the cart before the horse, giving people the impression that this project is approved, that's why the lots
Oh,
are
no,
being
it's
sold?
subject to approval. It's subject to approval.
All right. Any other questions? I mean, obviously, they can't sell anything until it's approved.
Until they-
They could advertise, but that's, you can't sell it. Okay. Any other comments?
I would just ask that whatever is being submitted to the outside agencies, also that the planning board be copied on those things. So, I mean, anything that's submitted to, say, the DEC for the jurisdictional determination or other materials, I think the planning board should be apprised of what's been submitted. So I think those things should just be copied.
That would be great. If you could provide a copy furnished, you know, that would be wonderful. Good point. Lena, Manny? Joe?
Yeah, I'll just make one more comment. It's something that we touched on at the last meeting. I couldn't see from here. I haven't received that plan yet. But in a prior plan, you had access to the road via an easement over other lots. So it looks like some of those lots may have been eliminated, but maybe the first two coming in might still have easements over other lots. Is that right?
I honestly, I'm a little hard of hearing.
Oh, all right.
Know that,
All right, so
I didn't hear what you said.
maybe it's David. David, I couldn't see from here, but we had discussed at one of the other meetings, there were lots that got access to the road via easement over other lots.
That would be lot 1 and 2. Joe, what's up, concern? I mean, I gotta take a close look at it, but yeah, there may be an issue that we have to look at.
Yeah, only because I don't think under the case law, you can have an easement across a lot to get to a public road. So if you're gonna end up, I'm just, and if I'm wrong, you certainly let me know. What I want to have happen is where you're looking to go to the ZBA on one issue and we leave an issue out. That's why I'm mentioning it now, so we can all look at it. And if that requires a variance, you can go when you're ready for everything.
Anything else, Joe? Board members,
Driveways and party
Nothing.
driveways, up you said, like,
Nothing.
going
did you want to say anything?
No, no.
Not tonight.
Is that what you?
I didn't think it was like that, but we can discuss it.
Okay.
I mean, that's the question I have.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Doyle, any questions?
No.
Mr. Murphy, any questions?
No.
Okay. All right. Been very helpful tonight. Got several things accomplished. I appreciate that. Next planning meeting is on the 21st of October at 7 o'clock. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
A second.
All in favor?
I,
Thank you very much. Everyone have a good night.
thank you.
Okay, good.
I'll work it out
Okay, well,
somehow.
okay. I want to thank you publicly, so we'll work that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I may swing by the next